Eva dashed back, bringing everyone with her. Goda was gripping some wire cutters to cut the chain with. At least they're kind of being quick about this now. I mean, there is some sense of an urge, right, in knowing that someone died and others being separated from the group. I don't know what Hideyoshi was thinking. Maybe the same that Natsuki thought, eh? Maybe he got blackmailed too. After trying to open the door again and confirming that the chain was still set, she yelled through the crack in the door. Goda stuck the large wire cutter, which looked like it could slice off a whole finger, through the crack of the door. Even a small one can do that. Then again, I don't know, how easy is it to cut through a finger? I mean, wire cutters, they are really fucking strong. If you get a proper one, not like a toy one. Through the crack of the door and easily sever the chain. As soon as it was severed, Eva pushed Goda aside and dashed in. The others tried to follow her, but they bumped into Eva, who had fallen to her knees, moaning. So even though they couldn't tell much of what was going on inside the room, they could tell by Eva's moans that they were too late. So, who could have done this? Could it have been Natsui in the closet, since she's the only other person in this room? Yeah, the little sound in the background just now told us that the game updated. Hideyoshi is dead. Nancho stood up, hanging his head sadly. It was only natural, because anyone, even if they weren't a doctor, would think that at a glance. Hideyoshi was lying face down on the bed, and stuck deep into his back was something like a blade with an intricate demonic design on it. When Eva pulled it out with all her might. Why would she do that? That's fucked up. They could tell that it wasn't a blade but some kind of stake. Why let Eva do it too? If they were all okay with it, why not Rudolph or maybe Dr. Nanjo? And its sharp tip had penetrated nearly 15 centimeters in. It's a very deep penetration. Is it? It had probably dug deep into the lungs. If it had been stuck in any harder, the tip might have even pierced all the way through to the surface of his chest. Wait a second, what? I'm pretty sure my body is like more than 15 centimeters? So that shouldn't pierce me, and Hideyoshi was a big guy, let's be honest. I know I'm giving her a lot of shit, but this really is music to my ears. Fucking Eva. In some episodes. Oh, it's a closed room murder. Where's Erika anyway? Why is she not here? Why has she not announced that the detective arrived at the scene and like, why did she not pull out the blade, for example?
それはおかしいではありませんか。それじゃ犯人はどうやってこのお部屋の秀吉様を襲ったというんですか。
扉の隙間からこの杭を投げて刺したとか。
その隙間から秀吉さんのベッドは完全に死角よ。銃を使ったって殺せやしない。おかしな話になったわ。密室殺人。
密室殺人。
そうと決めつけるのは早いぜ。風呂場の天井を外して天井裏に逃げたとか、あるいは鎧戸が実は外からでも閉められるとかな。
鎧戸は外からはびくともしませんでした。今確認してきました。
エリカ。
It's no wonder everything felt so quiet and relaxed. At some point Erika had split from the group. Just now she had finally arrived and poked her face in from the hallway. When she heard that a crime had occurred in this room, she had watched everyone rush towards the room but circled around to the outer wall herself. And she had gone all by herself to check that the shutter was down on the window, that you couldn't do anything with it from the outside, and that there was nothing out of the ordinary.
室内は案の定お約束で。
そういう言い方はねえだろ。
お悔やみ申し上げます。で、室内の状況は？
扉にはチェーンがかかっていて、私たちは切断して入ったわ。
そして窓には全て鎧戸、しっかり内側から施錠されてる。
奥は何を揉めてるんです？
Eva was arguing with Nunja about something. Apparently she wanted to carry the corpse to the parlor. Nunja tried to calm her, saying that they should leave the crime scene as untouched as possible until the police came.
ジョージたちの死体はそうしたらどうなったの？
Can anyone understand why I really don't like Eva, even though I really do like Eva? In some episodes, she's just such a massive fucking idiot bitch.
犯人にどこかへ持っていかれちゃったのよ。犯人は殺すだけじゃ飽き足らず、遺体にまで何か無体なことをするつもりなのかもしれない。だからダメ。ここへ主人を一人ぼっちで残していくなんて絶対ダメ。
Eva does have a point. After all, the victims before now have all been carried away after we were shown the terrible wounds.
エリカちゃん、現場をそのままで保存したいだろうね。今回はちょいと折れても。
どうぞご勝手に。私にとって興味があるのは金蔵さんの書斎よりはるかにまともな密室が出現したことだけです。死体には興味ありませんので、どうぞご自由になさってください。
Such a weird way to put it. I have no interest in corpses. Immediately making a thing out of Hideyoshi, I think that's what's worrying Battler. Battler's expression was clearly unhappy, but she ignored him completely.
搬出していただいて結構ですよ。それとも私が邪魔ですか？
Erika backed away from the door to open a path. She showed no trace of any sadness for that. Her eyes simply blazed with thoughts of this closed room murder that had appeared. In any event, the great detective had given her permission. Eva and some others wrapped Hideyoshi up in the sheets and Goda and Rudolph carried him out. It's not a good thing to do. Let's be honest. The sheets were quickly stained red, yes. It was so painful to see that Shannon and Kumasawa stripped the blanket off the bed to further cover the corpse. Oh god. For a second, when I mean, I could have stopped reading after stripped, but then again, it's Kumasawa as well.
ほら、起き上がれ。
どいてますよ。
100枚運ぼう。
はい。
あなた。あなた。いいこと？みんな。これからは常に団体行動よ。絶対に孤立してはダメ。
What do you define as a group though? 3 people? 4 people? All of them? You can't all of you go to the toilet, can you? So...
犯人は源氏さんを襲った時点でマスターキーを得ているはずだ。
Also, are they not worried about Natsui at all? I mean, a murder occurred. Oh shit, where the fuck is Natsui? Is no one thinking about her, really? It's kinda harsh.
世情がもはや安全を保証しないことは明白だぜ。
しかしチェーンまでされていたのにどうやって。
不可能だ。鎧戸もチェーンロックもしっかりかかっていた。マスターキーがあったってあの部屋に押し入るのは不可能だ。
とベアトリーチェ様の仕業ですよ。
That's a name we haven't heard in a while.
ベアトリーチェ様のはずありません。
Oh yeah? How are you so sure about that?
碑文は解かれ、すでに儀式の意味は失われたはず。
わかるものがこんなの魔女にしか不可能だ。
魔女にしか不可能ですか。グッといい響きです。
エリカちゃん、話を聞いてる？私たちはこれから全体行動って決まったわ。私たちはまず秀吉さんの遺体を客間へ運ぶ。探偵ごっこはそれからにしない？
Playing detective. Is she gonna flip? When she heard the words playing detective, Erika grimaced visibly. Then everyone stumbled out and she took a single step into the now empty guest room, looked around and burned that scene into her eyes. Erika claimed to have a photographic memory. If that was true, those few seconds were more than enough for her. I wonder if that's a blessing or a curse, to be honest. I mean, imagine being able to look at something just a few seconds and have it in your brain forever. I think it would be amazing, but maybe it could also be bad, because sometimes our imagination is better than the real thing. We tend to remember some things. I guess it's a nostalgia thing. We remember them better than they were, and I think it's not just strictly nostalgia. It happens with like people we saw too, or I don't know. It's weird. Let's continue. Later on, she could sip black tea in the parlor while perusing the photograph of the scene inside her memory, playing the part of an armchair detective. Then suddenly her eyes stopped on the closet off to the side. A closet for hanging overcoats. If it was large enough to fit a coat on a hanger, a person should be able to hide in it. Slowly, Erika stretched her hand out towards the closet. Erika's shoulder was grabbed roughly from behind.
行くぜ探偵さん。団体行動を乱すなって修学旅行で習わなかったか？
Thank you, Battler.
私が旅行に行くと必ず人が死ぬってお約束がありまして。
ほら、何してやがるガキども。早く来い。
Rudolph told him to hurry. After clicking her tongue and glaring at the closet, Erika followed Battler back to the parlor for the time being. That's so out of character for her. She should insist on investigating everything in the room first, because now you can't be sure. The murderer might have been under the bed as well, right? He can just escape now. Right, whatever. Just me getting angry. I don't know, maybe I'm in a fighting mood today, who knows. Here we go. Hello, Nazi. The sound of the footsteps finally faded. That time of terror, when I feared that even the dripping of the cold sweat covering my cheeks might be noticed. Which cheeks? Had finally ended. With my hand that still couldn't stop trembling, I slowly opened the closet door and dashed out into the hallway. It's okay, no one's found me. Still, it's a good thing they didn't lock the door. If they had, I wouldn't be able to lock it behind me after I left, and they'd find that suspicious. Anyway, I should leave this place. Then I'll return to my room and pretend that I was sleeping the whole time. Yes, if I don't get back soon, a new murder has occurred. They'll probably try to tell me about it. And they'll probably do it shortly after they carry Hideyoshi-san's corpse back to the parlor. I can get around a phone call by saying I was asleep and didn't notice, but if they come knocking directly, that'll be bad. I have to get back quickly, before they try to force their way in. I don't know whether I should run all out noisily, hide my footsteps and walk in secret, or walk around normally as though nothing has happened. I think the latter would be the best, right? At the very least, it'll be bad if I bump into them on their way back to the parlor. Anyway, I'll head to my room at a quick pace without being noticed by anyone. Poor Natsui. I pass through the hallway to the lobby. If I go up the big staircase in the lobby, my room is just a little bit...
Natsushi-san?
Just as she was about to go up the large staircase, Natsui heard Erika call out to her, and was so surprised that she visibly jumped.
ちょうど今からあなたにも知らせに行こうと思ってたんです。
Ask which news, please.
それはありがとうございます。それで何かありましたか？
Good job, Natsui. You're a very good murderer in disguise.
今、夏日さん、階段を登ってました？夏日さんの部屋って上ですよね。
Erika coldly pointed out a strange fact. She could have just said I was in any random fucking room because I was afraid of being in my room because the culprit clearly knows whose room is whose. Just argue like that, Natsui. You can do it. I believe in you. Natsui cursed her bad luck.
寝つけなくて客間に戻ろうとしていたのですが、自分の部屋に鍵をかけたか不安になり戻ろうとしたのです。心配性なのでよくあることです。気にしないでください。
ああ、よくありますよね。そういう記憶力に自信のない人にありがちな癖です。
Oh shit, I tend to do the same. I check every door I lock twice at least. Oof. And I'm not confident in my memory either. Normally, since Erika was clearly making fun of her, Natsui might have looked annoyed. However, right now, Natsui was extremely relieved to hear Erika admit that this sort of thing happened a lot.
エリカさんこそお一人でどうしたんですか？
例の客室を調べようかと思いまして。
Alone?
客室？
ええ、大変なことになったじゃないですか。現場検証は私の権利ですので。
Erika's probing gaze peered deep into Natsui's eyes. She could tell. Erika already suspected Natsui. Judging by the subtle nuance in her words, she must be planning to make me slip up and reveal that I know about the crime with Hideyoshi, when I supposedly haven't been told about it yet. Natsui played dumb and asked what had happened again. Fucking Erika. Just staying silent like that.
何か？
いえ、何でも。また最初の事件の繰り返しですね。
どういう意味ですか？
またあなたは自室で、そして今回もそのアリバイを証明できないわけですよね。
おっしゃっている意味がわかりません。逆を言えば私が自室にいなかったことをあなたこそどう証明されるわけですか？
おや、そうきましたか。ならばそれはおいおい。鍵は後にしてください。皆さんに重大な話があります。
鍵を確認したら戻ります。先に始めていてください。
秀吉さんが殺されました。その件についてです。
She had planned on using the need to check her lock as an excuse to escape to her own room, after which she would claim to have a sudden headache and stay in bed for the rest of the time. However, now that she had been informed of Hideyoshi's murder, it would be clearly suspicious to postpone that and escape to her room. She was already under suspicion just because she'd been seen heading up to the stairs to the second floor. She couldn't afford to do anything else suspicious. Natsui gave up and headed for the parlor as Erika had urged her to do. When she opened the door to the parlor, Eva's sobs poured out, and everyone glanced at Natsui with grave faces. Those gazes almost made it look as though they suspected Natsui. No, it's just you being paranoid, don't worry. It was now painfully apparent to Natsui. This must have been what that man was after. It was a trap to create a baffling closed room mystery and try to frame a void. Natsu should still be, like, surprised by that shit, since how... First off, she should have looked out of the closet to see who it was. And secondly, it was still a closed room until they all barged in, which means either the murderer, who she doesn't know who it is, was inside the room with her all the time, or she is the murderer and she just doesn't know. Why is she not more surprised about that fact? However, she couldn't have resisted. She couldn't sacrifice her husband's life. And while it's true I hid in the closet, that's all I did. I definitely haven't committed murder. I might be extremely suspicious, but I'm not a culprit. And most importantly, I'm not under suspicion yet. I'll tell the police everything. I'll have to endure until then. I'm sure one of the servants is a traitor. Even in a situation like this, if I mention my husband being held hostage, the culprit will hear and might use it as an excuse to kill him.
ちょうど夏日さんが戻ってきてくれました。
You know, there's a point where you just have to start your self-preservation instead of trying everything by yourself. I don't know.
全員が揃ったところで、私から皆さんにとても重要な話があります。
重要な話?
Also, she could confide in, like, singular people, like Battler, for example, or maybe Rudolph. If she thinks the servants are traitors, why not talk to Erika, for example, or talk to Battler?
重要な話です。最初の事件からをすべて皆さんの前で整理したいと思います。
それなら他の皆さんとなさってください。私はそういうことは警察に任せるべきと思っています。関心がありません。
整理した上で重要なお話があるのです。あなたにも誰にも断る権利はありません。
Erika used her detective's authority to proclaim the start of an assembly. None of the pieces could disobey. Praying that she wouldn't become the topic of conversation, Natsu reluctantly sat on the sofa as she'd been urged to.
あ、すみません。
It's weird when it gets gamey like that, eh?
その扉閉めてもらえます？
はい。
Shannon and Kanon closed the door. Since it had been decided a short while ago to lock all doors and windows carefully, Kanon locked it. That lock, which existed to protect the safety of this room, felt like a lock on a prison cell to Natsui, one that would hold her in place and prevent any escape. Natsui still hadn't noticed. Though Erika had gone into the corridor to check the crime scene in Hideyoshi's room, her goal had changed. In other words, from Erika's point of view, the sound of that lock was truly...
チェックメイト。
Erika said that suddenly. Van Castle said that suddenly.
あら早い。何？もう犯人分かっちゃったの？まだ事件だって全然進んでないのよ。もう少し殺させていろいろと手がかりを集めればいいのに。
さあラムダ、すべての駒を集めなさい。ここからが一番面白いんじゃない。思い切り楽しみましょう。お互いにね。
どうかしらね。お手並み拝見と行くわよ。
24時のゲームセットを待たずにもう仕掛けてきたとはな。ベルンカステル教め、気の早い御仁よ。
相当の早仕掛けですが、この段階でもう勝てる算段があるとは。
普段なら魔女の存在を主張するだけで勝てるけど、今回は夏日や金蔵や守るものが多いわ。面倒な戦いになりそうね。
面倒な戦い。わらわの黄金の島でこれ以上の好き勝手はさせぬわ。受けて立とうぞ、ベルンカステル教フルドエリカ。